Hello everybody, Shinjo here, welcome back to the channel and to an unconventional winter 2024 anime breakdown. So, I mentioned this on my YouTube community page, but what I did was try to record a countdown of the winter season of anime, but 5 minutes into the recording, the audio just stops. The video keeps moving, but I don't know what happened with my audio. So essentially, this is my last chance to talk about the winter season before it actually begins. If this works out, then you'll see this video. If not, then we'll have to wait until the next season. But this is going to be a bit of an unconventional one because I'm just going to be discussing the anime that I added to my plan to watch list in that winter season and just discuss what each show is about and just stuff about the show in general. Obviously, there are other shows that are going to be airing that I'm not watching, but these are the ones that I'm at least planning to watch from this season. So up first we have Buchigire, which I don't really know how to feel about it. Because I thought there was a show that was already called Buchigire from either this year or the year before, unless that was just the title of the opening. But anyway, the show just says that it's about Araji Tomobishi that gets caught up in battles among powerful individuals after reuniting with his former friend Mataka Asamine. Meanwhile, the shadow of a colossal demon appears. So it doesn't really say much about the show at all. It just seems kind of out there, in my opinion. But it's done by Studio Mappa, which I'm legitimately surprised that more people aren't talking about only for that. But this is actually really cool because the opening is the same people that did the opening for Hyper Ninja from this year. And even though I haven't watched the show, I really like that opening, so hopefully the song will be good. But yeah, I'm just legitimately surprised that more people aren't talking about it, in my opinion. Next we have Gekkai Elise, which I believe was one of the romances that I added to my list, which that alone is cause for concern because I very rarely watch romance. But here's what the show is about. Dr. Sun Ji-yeon is considered a prodigy among Korean surgeons, known for her skill in saving patients no matter their condition. In her past life as Elise de Clorence, the ill-mannered wife of the emperor, her jealousy and greed had led her to the loss of her loved ones, and ultimately her death. For that reason, she vowed to now save lives instead of destroying them. After a fatal plane crash, Elise finds herself once again in her former body. With her previous knowledge of modern medicine and now a chance at mending her mistakes, she's determined to contribute to the empire as a medic in this life, but will at least be able to avoid her engagement to Prince Lyndon de Romanov, the man she had loved to the point of her own demise. So this show is certainly an interesting one, to say the least. I don't know how exactly to feel about it because obviously there's reincarnation aspects in it, so people are easily going to compare it to other isekai and stuff. But it honestly reminds me of Tear Moon Empire from this year because it's the whole idea of, oh, this is ultimately how she's going to go kaput, but she gets reincarnated with all of her memories and trying to avoid that. I haven't watched Tear Moon Empire, but that's what I got just from the opening and just reading synopsis about the show. But yeah, in hindsight, I'm legitimately wondering why I added it. It might be a bit of a sleeper hit, but I'm wondering now why I added it to my list. The studio is Maho Films, which that name rings a bell. It was that last boss isekai that happened. That explains it. And, oh, it was the Mug anime. Oh, okay. That's kind of interesting. And that's actually the only one from this group that I have watched, so I guess that's what we're going with. Up next we have Gekkan Moso Kagaku. And oh yeah, this one! The studio I don't recognize. It says OLM Team Yoshioka. So I don't know if that means like from Team OLM, but just like a sector of it. But it's set in Most City, in an unknown country, in a small publishing house that prints a monthly magazine about the most outlandish of things. Everything changes when the staff of the magazine, editor-in-chief Taro, his assistant Jiro, and dog Saburo meet with scientist Goro Sato. So I don't know exactly what to make of this show, because just like Buchigire, it doesn't really give you much about what's going on in the show. But it's about a workplace, so hopefully that will give us actually older characters, which is something that's very rare in anime anymore. And wait, one of the characters, Catherine Sue, is Ri Kugimiya. And if I'm not mistaken, that's Taiga from Toradora. If I'm not mistaken, I'm checking it on my phone right now, but I am pretty sure that I'm right. Yep, I was absolutely right. Taiga Aisaka from Toradora. I don't think it was worth to pause the whole video and cut stuff out just for that, but yeah, pretty interesting. Yeah, definitely gonna check that out. Moving on, we have Ishura. Ishura is an isekai, according to this, and it is Studio Passion, which, if I'm not mistaken, did what's it called? Eden Zero, I think? Let me check really quickly. They did Citrus, they did Miracle Chan, so that's fair. They did the new Higurashi, they did Ishizoku Reviewers. Yeah, this studio really does know what they're doing. So I am not seeing Eden Zero on here, so I must be thinking of a different studio. But anyway, Ishura is about a world where the Demon King has died. A host of demigods capable of felling him have inherited the world. A master fencer who can figure out how to take out their opponents with a single glance. A lancer so swift they can break through the sound barrier. A wyvern rogue who fights with 3 legendary weapons at once. An all-powerful wizard who can speak thoughts into being. An angelic assassin who deals instant death. Eager to attain the title of true hero, these champions each pursue challenges against formidable foes and spark conflicts among themselves. The battle to determine the mightiest of the mighty begins. So it's like Juni Tyson, where everybody's just fighting each other in a battle royale style. I don't know, one of the tags says that it's gore, so I might not actually enjoy it, but we'll have to wait and see. Next we have Tomozaki Second Stage. So I don't know how the general consensus is. I don't know if this is a bit of a sleeper hit, but I legitimately enjoyed Tomozaki. It is a little bit more on the trashier side because it's just another slice of life sort of show, but the dub really helped with that, in my opinion. To be quite honest, I forgot about the show until now, but it's just always a welcome show to watch because it's just so stupid and so unapologetic with how they bring video game references into things. In a weird way, it goes from being just super ridiculous to around the other side to being legitimately funny. But that also means I'm going to be waiting until the dub comes out, so I might be waiting until a couple of months after the season's already started to keep up with this one. But next up is Majo and Yaju. And this one, let's see, Yokohama Animation Lab is the studio. And just a quick, Saori Hayami is on here, which I believe is Aqua. I don't remember off the top of my head, but just from experience, I'm not going to look at it and waste more time. But here is the description. Gaido, a feral girl with long fangs and the eyes of a beast. Ashaf, a soft-spoken man with delicate features and a coffin strapped to his back. This ominous pair appears one day in a town that's in thrall to a witch, who has convinced the townsfolk she's their hero. But Ashaf and Gaido know better. they have scores to settle, and they won't hesitate to remove anyone in their way. So this is another one that doesn't really say much about what's going on in the show in general. So that could be good, but it could also be bad. But moving on to the next one is Mashl's second season. And this is also funny, but also a little bit sad that Mashl's getting a second season so quickly after its first one, where other shows don't even get that opportunity. But I enjoyed Mashl's first season. It's definitely one that is an acquired taste, so to speak, but I enjoyed it. I'm curious to see how they're going to keep things rolling with the second season. But up next we have Oradake Level Up Naken, which, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, okay, it says it right here. It's solo leveling. So, I know everybody's talking about solo leveling. It's gonna be the new biggest thing, apparently, from what I've been hearing. And it's done by Studio A1 Pictures, which I think they've done Licorice Recoil as well, so might be legitimately good, but I'll just have to wait and see. But it says 10 years ago, the gate appeared and connected the real world with the realm of magic and monsters. To combat these vile beasts, ordinary people received superhuman powers and became known as hunters. 21-year-old Sun Jin Woo is one such hunter, but he's known as the world's weakest, owing to his pathetic power compared to even a measly E rank. Still, he hunts monsters tirelessly in low-rank gates to pay for his mother's medical bills. However, this miserable lifestyle changes when Jinwoo, believing himself to be the only one left to die in a mission gone terribly wrong, awakens in a hospital 3 days later to find a mysterious screen floating in front of him. This quest log demands that Jinwoo completes an unrealistic and intense training program or face an appropriate penalty. Initially reluctant to comply because of the quest rigor, Jinwoo soon finds that it may just transform him into one of the world's most fearsome hunters. So reading this again after my initial video, it's kind of funny that from what I've been hearing, people are really hyping this up, but at its core, the first paragraph is basically saying, hey, we got Sun Jinwoo, he's the weakest in this specific field. Where you have other anime, generally isekais, that are the same thing and people are always bashing that. Not that I'm trying to defend them, it's just a funny contradiction that this one is okay that he's the weakest, but that might be from people that read the source material that know what's going on with the show. Next we have Oroka Natense wa Akuma de Oru, or The Foolish Angel Dances with the Devil. Okay, that makes sense. That's right, another romance. Akusu Masatora is a demon who has infiltrated a high school in the human world. His goal is to find candidates to aid Hell in their fight against the natural enemies, the Angels of Heaven. Assigned a seat next to Lily Amane, another student who transferred here not long ago. Akutsu falls prey to her beauty and decides to recruit her to his cause. But there's more to Lily than meets the eye. And Akutsu not only finds himself an accomplice to one of the very enemies he's supposed to defeat, but he might also develop feelings for her. So it's more of an extreme Romeo and Juliet. So I'm still surprised I'm watching this many romance shows. I didn't actually see any of the VAs. Ayane Sakura and Yuma Uchida are the two main leads. I don't know who they are off the top of my head, but they're really well-known VAs. And now Tomoya? Taiga's back again too. And there's cats with human bodies. And Goku's here. Sure, why not? We got 3 more left, and this one is Pon no Michi. And Pon no Michi, I don't know where I found this from, but I added it in here before this season even started. Or, well, I mean, all of these are before this season started. But this is from Studio OLM, and just looking at the character designs, that is definitely evident. Because they did a lot of shows that I'm not recognizing off the top of my head. They did Pokemon. Of course they did. and Inazuma 11 for all the Inazuma 11 fans out there in the comment section. But this show is about the following. Nashiko Jipensha, a high school girl living in Onomichi City, Hiroshima Prefecture, was in trouble after being kicked out of her house. She said, "I don't have a place to hang out with my friends." When Naoko learned that the parlor that her father used to run was now vacant, she decided to rebuild it into a place where everyone could gather. And the translated name says The Way of Pawn, so I don't know what that means. It looks like, based off of the key visual, it's like one of those Japanese only board games like shogi and stuff like that. So, might be a bit of an acquired taste. Next, we have Snack Basu. And Snack Basu has Rie Takahashi on here. That is going to be interesting. The show is about this. Located 5 stations away from Hokkaido's largest downtown area, Susukino. Took a while to learn how to pronounce that. A fun shop called Snack Bus can be found run by Mama Basu and Mama Akemi. Filled with the laughter of the girls and their unusual regulars, you'll be smiling along with them before you know it. So, it's not really giving me much that is going on in the show. But I remember when I read that the first time, I remember thinking that this show better be good if it's really heavily relying on their comedy. And finally up, we have Yubusaki to Ren Ren. And this is taking a while to load on my phone, so I can't really swipe. There we go. And the studio is Aijiado, and I recognize that name. It is Kimono Jihen and Kakushi Goto and the Bookworm Isekai Azumanga Web Dio. There's a web thing? I'm gonna have to watch that now. But anyway, this show translates to A Sign of Affection, which a little bit on the nose, but okay. Yuki Itose is a hearing-impaired university student whose world has been shrouded with silence since birth. She has lived in the same place her whole life and rarely interacts with others save for her best friend Rin Fujishiro. During a commute one day, she meets the silver-haired and multilingual Itsutomi Nagi, a mutual friend of Rin. Unlike most, Itsuomi is unwavering when he learns of Yuki's impairment. This, along with his experiences abroad, fascinates and touches her. After they part, her fondness of him starts to grow. A new world begins to open for both Yuki and Itsuomi as they learn about each other's different lives. A romantic, lighthearted comedy that illustrates the silent life of a university student and how one man sharing his world starts to change her own. Yeah, if you haven't noticed just from that, it's about an adult cast, which is definitely a good start. And the main lead girl, Yuki, is Sumie Morihoshi. I hope I pronounced that right. But I definitely recognize that VA, and hopefully it's not something that I'm leading everybody on a wild goose chase where I actually don't recognize. She's Michiru from BNA, for one thing. But I definitely recognize that VA from something that I watched. I just haven't found it yet. Yeah, just from that show description, it sounds really interesting. Hopefully it'll be able to keep up with it. And she's also Annabelle, the rival of Akko from Little Witch Academia. Which, that is just hilarious in its own right. And of all things, Genesect from the Mewtwo and Genesect movie, and also Acerola from the Sun and Moon anime. So that's kind of neat, actually. You got some Pokemon representation in here. Oh, Fumino from Skip and Loafer. Okay. Yeah, so it has been from stuff that I've seen. It's just stuff that I didn't expect. And she's Emma from Promised Neverland. And the dog girl from Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'm legitimately looking forward to a lot of the stuff on here, at least the ones that give a long description, but it's a bit of a catch-22 where if they give a long description, then there's nothing really surprising in the show, but if they give a short description, then it might discourage people from watching it. But regardless, I'm looking forward to a lot of the stuff from this season. And obviously, this is only stuff that I'm planning on watching from this season. Some stuff might get dropped, some stuff might get added, but this is just my list at the moment. If there's anything that I haven't talked about from this season that you're planning on watching, let me know down in the comment section. Hopefully the next season of anime will be an easier recording and stuff won't mess up on me. But if you enjoy, hit that like button down below, subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you next time. Momentai.